regardless who you are, you always have that one family member that has an amazing job that you envy. For me, it's my relative Christine. She works at JPL and is the director for the Mars rover there. As you can see her there next to the control center, and you can also see her with all of her colleagues. Now, with this Mars talk put in place, let's talk about the Mars mission. The mission to put people onto Mars. But first, why the red planet? In the long term, the mission could be colonization. When Earth becomes too crowded or something extreme happens, making the Earth not a safe place to live, it'd be really nice to just, have a second planet. That way we can go there and live there and not have to worry about the dangers of this world. We could also use it for mining. It has a lot of natural resources that would be very valuable to us and could really help us build up infrastructure. Current progress. As of right now, we are trying hard to find carbon-based life forms on Mars. Using rovers hasn't been the best so far, considering how slow they move and the fact that it's robot controlled from Earth. It's not the best. It'd be a lot better if we could get an actual person there to scope everything out. So far, all we've been able to find is some frozen water droplets, and it may not even be that in the end. It might just be some grains of sand that are slipping downhill to make dark streaks that look like water. But all in all, we can only hope. And we have a video for you guys. picture of a possible designed spacecraft that was rendered out by artists. Some of the next steps that we are going to need to take. In 2015, the administrator for NASA reaffirmed the mission to send a manned group to Mars. They set the expected date as 2030 because in 2033 there's a perfect time slot window, so that way we can save as much fuel as possible. It's kind of all based around of how the planets are positioned, and it only happens once every I think it's 50 or 60 years. But to get to that point, we need a lot to happen. We need a ship that can transport the astronauts, and as well as supplies that can last them long enough while they are there and while they are on their journey there and back. It is a very long time that they will be in space, the longest ever. These are just some possible designs of what it could look like while we are on Mars. I have no clue personally, but I think that could honestly be, I think that could be what it looks like. Transport. NASA's DTS, or their Deep Space Transport, is a crewed interplanetary shuttle designed to support missions to Mars up to 1,000 days. This is one of many steps that we can take to get to Mars. However, with limited funding, it's very hard to make some of these mass ships, as these do cost millions and millions of dollars. These are just some renderings again from NASA of what that could look like. A Mars base camp, similar to the DTS Mars base camp, is pretty much the exact same thing, but it's meant to conduct real-time telerobot science. The purpose of this is that way we can send robots onto Mars while we are still on the ship or in orbit, or we can be on Mars or on orbit and send another robot to one of Mars's moons, as they do have 2 moons. It would be very useful to collect all that information all at once too, saves us lots of time. Moving on to different branch of the Mars exploration, SpaceX. SpaceX, as everyone knows, is a bit wild when it comes to their claims. They have already claimed on going to Mars by 2024, I believe. But first, they have 2 phases that they have to conduct. The first one will consist of confirming water resources and identifying hazards. Along with that, they also want to place power, mining, and life support infrastructure, which could really help them out in the future and would be very valuable information to have. Life evolving. Some scientists think that cryobacteria could play a role in the development of self-sustainable crewed outpost on Mars. Now, this bacteria has many applications, including the production of food, fuel, oxygen, and also it could indirectly support a larger, buildup of living organisms that could evolve to live on Mars. The effect that Mars has on humans can be drastic. We have hypothesized that different biological functions can be negatively affected by its environment due to the high levels of radiation, along with a multitude of physical side effects. The soil contains high levels of radiation, which are very hazardous to human health. So that means any plants that we grow there will have a lot of radiation in them and could possibly slowly be killing us. So that's something we do not want. Now on to this short little video I have for us. have a nice picture from NASA, but explaining the journey to Mars and some of the science exploration and technology advancements that we're going to need. Um, and now, this picture is a picture of nerve cells. Um, Radiation in space can cause nerve cells to not branch out and to become very short. This makes these synapses in our brains a lot harder and smaller, and can decrease memory along with just normal neural function. So now with all this talk of the human body out in space or in Mars, you can really see some of the obstacles that we have to overcome, and some of these being more simpler than others, from the osteoclast to the size of our heart. All of these are very difficult matters that scientists are still trying to adjust and to make it safer for us to travel in space. All this being said, any questions? Alright, I'd like to thank you for being a part of this and for letting me talk to you. I will see you next time. Peace out.